My favorite game at Gen Con 2024 was one that I had not anticipated seeing there, which was a bit of a surprise because I organized the convention previews on BoardGameGeek. We had more than 600 items listed on our Gen Con 2024 preview, but of course, I don't get all the information of what's going to be there. I have to contact publishers, they have to contact me, sometimes wires get crossed, things show up at the last minute. There are always surprises, which is a good thing. And the surprise at Gen Con 2024 for me was Tower Up, a game by Gregoire Larguy, Frank Crichton, and Sébastien Pochon from Monolith Board Games. Now, Monolith Board Games in the past has done only miniature-filled fantasy science fiction games. They've done Conan and Batman Gotham City Chronicles. They do large boxes, but this is a standard Euro game, as standard as you can get. It's kind of amazing how standard this is. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I talked with someone from Flat River Games, which is distributing for Monolith in the United States. They said this was the favorite game they've been playing, Ticket to Ride Plus, and that was all I needed to hear. Let's get into it. I said yes. So played the game with 4 people, loved it, bought it, took it home. I played 5 more times since then. I love it. It's fantastic. It does everything that I want a game to do, and so I want to share it with you. Here is a game of Tower Up set up for 3 or 4 players. For a 2-player game, you fold the board in half because there is a half-sized playing area on the back of this board to create a challenging 2-player game. Each player takes 10 roofs and their color and the matching scoreboard with a scoring marker in each of the 4 colors, and you take 1 brick of each color. To set up, you turn up 3 resource cards. Whatever colors are on the bottom, you take a block of each of those colors and put them anywhere on the board. So Joker, choose the color that you want. On a turn, you are going to either take resources or build. When you take resources, you choose one of the available cards, you take those blocks, and you add them to your supply. So I get those 3, turn up a new card. If you take a card that has a scoring marker on it, then you would advance that marker on the board. So I get a gray block, a black block, and I move my brown marker 1 space, which is worth 3 points. So you want to do that at some point, or at least advance everything in order to score, because right now you're getting nothing. If you build, you choose an empty space on the board that's adjacent to at least one other building. You choose a color of block to put down that cannot be the same color as any adjacent building. So right now, anything but gray can go here. And you must build on each adjacent building. It's sort of a cooperative building experience. I don't know exactly how it all works, but you're all construction companies building buildings in town, and you all participate in buildings. That seems like a terrible idea. You do not want to live there. How are they organizing all their construction? But that's what you're doing. After you build, you take one of your roofs and you add it to one of the buildings that you added to. So I created this one, I added to this one, I put on either one. Here I would advance my brown marker 1 space. Here I would advance my gray marker 2 spaces. So let's do that. I get 3 points right now for gray. Now you're going to score at the end of the game based on how far you move these markers. You want to move them as far as possible. That is one reason that you want to build in certain areas. Better to build on tall buildings than short ones. But in addition, you have some scoring objectives. These are the starting ones. There are 10 total in the game. They recommend these for your first game. You are going to score if you have a presence in 4 buildings that are on parks. Okay, I did 1. If you have a presence in all 5 districts, I'm in this one. And if you have a presence in a building of each of the 4 colors. Okay, that one move checks off a lot of boxes. Every move you make, though, sets up moves for other players. So someone else could decide they're going to go here, they're going to add brown, and now they mark theirs. And now they essentially have done the same as you. They're in a park, they're in the district, they're on a black building. They only have 1 point, or at least 1 space versus your 2, but so what? Okay. If you build into a space that's adjacent to multiple buildings, then you have to add to all of those buildings. So I could go here, again, pretend I'm taking these blocks from my supply. Actually, I have them in my supply right now. brown, black, white, and now I go here, and now I'm in 2 parks, I'm in 2 districts, I've got building in in 2 different colors. I'm halfway to some of these goals. Whoever is first to claim a goal takes the 7-point marker, next gets 5, others get 3. In a 2-player game, you only have 7 and 3. 3 players, 7, 5, 3. You don't worry about the last 3. So I would advance my black marker 2 spaces as well. You'll notice lines with stars on the board. When you advance all of your markers to a line or past that line, you take an immediate turn again, a free turn to take resources or to build. So if I took a card that had 2 white symbols on it, I would advance 2 spaces, hit that line, and immediately take another turn. Or if I build in the white building here, again, if I had the right resources and could play gray, could play white, move white, I advance 3 on the white track. I now take another turn, and I have a white, black, gray. If I could get onto a brown building, then I would get this. I'm in 3 areas, and so on. Everything you build opens up opportunities for other players. There's another thing you're working on as well. So you're trying to get tall buildings to advance the markers. You're trying to get these objectives because whoever claims them first gets more points. You pick up points every so often from here. But in addition, at the end of the game, you're going to score an additional bonus based upon how many buildings have your marker on top. So right now, I'm on top of 3, but this can be covered, this can be covered, this can be covered as well, right? Anyone builds adjacent to it, they are going to cap me. And even if I build adjacent to my own building, I might build here in the future for some reason, but I must add here as well, and now I am covering myself. This doesn't eliminate me from using this as a building to satisfy this objective, or this one, but it does take away my roof at the top. All right, you want to have your colors on the top of a building, because when someone has placed all 10 of their roofs, you count how many buildings you're on top of and you place your cone on the board. So if I remain on top of only these 3 buildings, I will get 5 points at the end of the game. Ideally, you want to be on more. So you're also looking for opportunities to build. For example, in this area, I could place this here, or maybe pink is going there. They cap this. There are no more connections to this space, so they have locked in this for their end game bonus. They could have instead gone here because it's a building in a park. Okay, you're giving up something to get something else. That is the nature of this game, in addition to setting up other people, but trying to set them up in ways that they won't benefit quite as much as you, or at least you'll get a little bit more out of it, or you will encourage them to build somewhere to set up for you. There's all sorts of opportunities along those lines. Someone might go here to cover this building. Again, I'm just going to pretend they have all these resources. They go here, they cover you, and now you don't have on top anymore, but maybe you had the right places to go here, and now you cap this one in this district that has no other connections. So I'm in this region, I have a black building, I'm on the top of it. You do lots of things at once. Okay, that's it for the game. Take resources, build. It's very straightforward, and yet I find it incredibly engaging because you are constantly looking to see what other people can possibly do. What bricks do they have and where can they build? So if you're looking at this here, if other people are looking, they know that Eric doesn't have a brown building. He's probably looking at that in order to get here. Is there any way to block it? Should I take this resource card so that now he can't get brown in case he doesn't have any brown? I just hope that 1 doesn't come up. Of course, if 1 does come up, I have to spend a whole turn getting it. And by that time, other people might cover it as well, or just make it too expensive to build there. Because sometimes you'll have a situation where a player builds here, and now to build in this space, you have to pay black and white. And if someone built here, then you could only go there with a brown and you would have to pay gray, black, and white. Now, you can actually get situations where you cannot legally play in a space. If someone did this, you cannot place a brick there because you would need all 4 different colors, which means nothing can go there. Obviously, I didn't put any roofs on here. So that's the challenge of the game. Race to get the objectives. Try to get your roofs on top. Try to just score lots of points by claiming super tall buildings. All right. If you could cap this one right now, if that brown weren't there, but you could cap it, that's 5 points at once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 5 spaces or 3 points. Initially, the points don't go up much here, right? 3, 4, 5. Then you have a jump, and then you start jumping up much more. So you want to push to the end of the track, which means specializing in a color. But you want free turns, which means moving up all the colors, while also satisfying the goals, while also working towards the end game bonus, all of which is on a board that everyone affects with every play they make. So they're going to cut off spaces. They're going to open up opportunities for you. It all depends upon what bricks you have, what you're trying to do to get these objectives, and just, what you want to get. Because sometimes you'll be like, I don't care about the objective. I'll get it at some point. I don't have to be first. Instead, I'm just shooting for colors. I want to maximize a color. Now, other objectives available. So have a presence in a building on 4 lakes, same as the parks. You have a connected network of 5 buildings. You have a presence in 4 different brown buildings. We had that. Well, we had this combination in a game that was quite challenging. So 4 brown, presence in 4 brown buildings. You have 2 buildings where you have 2 roofs. Okay, so score color, score it again. If I could do this where I get 3 white and then later on score 4 white, that's an awesome way to just shoot that color up the board and get lots of points. So that's good on its own, but if this is out, it's even better. This one, you have a presence in, you have a first floor building, first floor presence, a roof on the first floor, roof on the second, roof on the third, roof on the fourth. Here I would satisfy all of those conditions. This one, you have a pair of connected buildings across 2 different borders. And here you have 3 presence in 3 buildings in 1 gray area and 2 in another gray area. Okay. The variety of objectives that comes out, they're very straightforward, but they change the nature of gameplay because people are either trying to spread across the board or concentrate in a district depending upon what's here. And again, that creates opportunities or closes off opportunities depending upon how quickly people cap buildings and move on. There you go. At the end of the game, you're going to have some tokens in here depending upon what you scored. So your markers will be up here and so on. You'll just add up the points. 3, 5, 5, 7, 9, plus this. There's your score. Done. Since returning from Gen Con 2024, I've now played 5 more times on this purchased copy of Tower Up, and I've now played with all player counts 2, 3, and 4. And the experience varies depending on the player count. Obviously, with 2 people, it's just you and someone else. You're watching their blocks closely to see where they can build. You're trying not to set up opportunities so that you can pip those objectives before them, because the points in a 2-player game are only 7 and 3, so it's an 8-point difference depending upon who gets what first. But sometimes it feels like you can make up the difference if you're crowning tall buildings or working toward that endgame bonus. There's lots of opportunities available in the 2-player game for weird trickery, just depending upon which cards are up and what they have and what you're trying to do. Everything's out in the open. It's all just about reading what the other player is doing. It's similar in a 3- and 4-player game, but of course there's more going on. There's more things being built between each of your turns, so there's more opportunities available. But you're still looking at each other player. I've definitely paid attention in games. No one has a great building. I know they can't build at all. What's available? How long are they going to get? How long will it take them to get the resources they need to build where I want to build? Because of course, if they don't have that, I can hold off and do something else in the meantime, and then get it at the right time in order to jump in there. So it's like many other games in that regard. It's all about the timing and watching the opportunity, where you can do exactly the right thing when. I find it incredibly engaging. This is essentially like Eric's platonic ideal of a game because the rules are incredibly simple. What you're doing is simple, but the interaction, the engagement is intense. At least for me, watching what other people do and trying to figure out where they're going, how they can build, how I could build off where they're going to build if I think I know what they're going to do. And the rules just vanish. There's nothing to think about because, again, take resources or build. And once you get the building restrictions down with a different color, you must build on all adjacent buildings. You must cap only one thing with a roof. That's it. You're only going to build 10 times over the course of the game. That's it. Everything's very constrained and tight. And again, the rules just disappear. And what's amazing looking at this design is how simple it is and how, in essence, there's nothing new in this design. There's no hook. There's no design element that you're going to say like, well, in this game, you've got this unique action selection mechanism or a new way of deck building, or there's always some sort of hook that often ties in. Every trick-taking game, you need something to be like, what's the hook on this game? And I don't know what there is here. There's nothing that really works as a unique hook or selling point. And even the box, I will say, is not great in terms of being like pulling me towards this and saying, you have to play this. If I saw this in a store, I might hesitate to look at it because it's just like, okay, it's another building game, right? There's so many city building games. What's going on here? And the look of it, the look's not doing anything for me, but I don't care because I'm not buying the game for the look. I'm buying it for the gameplay, and the gameplay is much where I just want to play it more. I was trying to get other things to the table the other game night, new stuff, so I can possibly do more videos, things like this. And one of the people asked to play Tower Up again, and I'm like, yes, we'll do that, and we'll just push aside whatever else I was going to do because I just wanted to play this. So it's really good. I can't believe how much I am impressed by the engagement of this design. And of course, part of it is just me bringing that to the table because this is what I like. So of course, yes, I'm super engaged and I'm trying to think through everything, and I can see the board a lot better than in many other games with more components, more rules, more other stuff where everything is very stripped down to the basics, and I can focus on the intention of the other players and what they can possibly do, and then what they might do in the future. And that all just compiles together in my head in a really good way. So cool. I'm glad I did not miss this at Gen Con. I'm glad someone pointed it out and said, you should try this. I think it'll be good for you. I mean, you all need that sometimes. Someone who ideally knows your taste and is just like, I think you'll like this. And so maybe that's you, and I get to introduce this game to you, and you'll like it. Or if you don't like it, you'll avoid it, which means I've saved you time as well. So ideally, you're good either way, but hopefully you like it. And if I could teach it to you in person, I would, because I want to play more.